Hello, I'm Miranda, and this is my 6th Warmachine battle report. I play Khador, and today I'll be playing a 35-point battle against Circle Orboros. My opponent is fielding Kromac the Ravager. His battle group consists of a Gorax, a Warpwolf Stalker, and a Gnarlhorn Satyr. A unit of Shifting Stones with the Stonekeeper attachment, a full unit of Warpborn Skinwalkers led by the Warpborn Alpha attachment, a Black-clad Wayfarer, and finally the Swamp Gobber Bellows crew. Today I am fielding the Old Witch of Khador with Scrapjack. The remainder of her battle group includes the Behemoth and a War Dog. We also have a full unit of Winter Guard with the unit attachment and Kovnik Joseph Grigorovich, the Winter Guard Mortar crew, Widowmakers, perched majestically atop some ruins is Gorman DeWolf, and we have Alexia Cianor and her Risen. We are playing the Steamroller 2013 scenario, Ammunition Run. 3 explosive caches have been placed, and a 12x6 zone has been marked in the middle. My opponent won the dice roll and decided to go first. Kromac begins at the edge of his deployment zone, flanked by the Gnarlhorn Satyr and the Warpwolf Stalker. The Gorax is behind Kromac. To his left are the Skinwalkers, and off in the corner is the Black-clad Wayfarer. The Old Witch deploys behind her battle group, with Gorman off to her left. The Mortar crew is front and center, and Alexia and her Risen deploy behind the Winter Guard infantry. The Stonekeeper and his Shifting Stones deploy ahead of the battle group. The Widowmakers set up in front of a wall. Circle turn 1. The Stalker activates first and chooses the warp effect, Prowl. He is then forced to run, moving 14 inches. The Stonekeeper moves up 6 inches, and the Shifting Stones are placed upfield. He has to make sure he maintains command range to the stones. Then, the Stonekeeper uses his star action, Stone Form, to gain +4 armor. The Swamp Gobbers activate and issue a cloud cover order. They then make a full advance and place a 5-inch cloud, giving the Stalker concealment and blocking line of sight to Kromac. The Skinwalkers issue a run order. At speed 5, they make their way 10 inches up the board. The Black-clad activates and uses the star action, Phase Jump, and places himself within 2 inches of a Shifting Stone. The Gnarlhorn riles and runs, which generates 3 Fury. Kromac activates and advances into the cloud. He spends 2 Fury to cast Inviolable Resolve on the Skinwalkers, giving them +2 armor and making them fearless. He spends another 2 Fury to cast Warpath. He then spends his last 3 Fury to cast Wild Aggression on the Warpwolf Stalker. The Gorax riles and runs, generating 3 Fury. Khador, turn 1. The Old Witch allocates 2 focus to the subcortex of the behemoth. She keeps the remaining focus on herself. The behemoth activates and moves up 4 inches. He then attempts to shoot at the Blackclad. It's out of range, but I'm hoping for a decent scatter. The first shot deviates 6 inches away from the army. The second shot is also aimed at the Blackclad, and it deviates 3 inches the opposite direction, but still missing anything of importance. The Widowmakers move up and begin shooting at the Blackclad. He is defense 14, so I need 7s to hit him. The first shot misses, as does the second shot, and the third shot. The last Widowmaker actually uses his scope and hits his target. At dice -3, the Blackclad takes 2 points of damage. The Old Witch activates and moves up. She spends 2 focus to cast Iron Flesh on the Winter Guard, giving them +3 defense and -1 speed. She spends the remaining 3 focus to cast Murder of Crows, placing a 5-inch Power 8 cloud effect completely within my control area. The Winter Guard activate and issue a run order. Kovnik Joe moves up and gives his speech, Courage of Our Forefathers, making the Winter Guard infantry tough and fearless. The mortar crew runs into the rubble for cover. Alexia activates and moves up along with her Risen. She then performs her star action, Craft Thrall Rune, turning a Risen Grunt into a Thrall Warrior. The Thrall activates and runs out in front of the behemoth. Gorman runs over to a building. Scrapjack moves up toward the Widowmakers. Finally, the War Dog activates and stays near the Old Witch. Circle, turn 2. Kromac leeches the fury from his beasts. He spends 3 fury to upkeep Wild Aggression, Warpath, and Inviolable Resolve. He activates the Stonekeeper and his Shifting Stones. The stones are placed and the Stonekeeper uses Stone Form again. Skinwalkers activate and run. The Stalker chooses the warp effect Prowl. He then advances 6 inches upfield and riles for 3 fury. The Blackclad advances toward the Widowmakers and targets one with his Stone Spray attack. The 8-inch spray catches 2 Widowmakers. He needs 7s to hit. First attack hits, as does the second. The attack is powered 12, which automatically kills the snipers. Now the Widowmakers must make a command check since they have lost half the unit. And just barely make it. The Swamp Gobbers advance and drop another cloud. Kromac activates and moves up 6 inches, towing into the cloud. He then spends 3 fury to cast Bestial. This prevents enemy models from casting or channeling spells within Kromac's control area. The Gnarlhorn riles for 2 fury and runs. The Gorax is forced to run. Khador, turn 2. I allocate 2 focus to the subcortex of the behemoth and keep the remaining focus on the Old Witch. Iron Flesh is upkept for free as the result of the Old Witch's great power. The mortar crew activate and take a shot at the Skinwalker next to the Stonekeeper. I need a 9 to hit. It's a direct hit, and the 4-inch AoE also catches the Stonekeeper. I roll dice -2 on the Skinwalker, but only cause 2 damage. This triggers Reckless Advance on the Skinwalker unit. The Stonekeeper takes a power 8 blast damage roll, which is dice -9. I do no damage. The Winter Guard issue a bob and weave order, giving them +2 defense. They move up into position. The front 3 Winter Guard CRA the Skinwalker in the forest. The middle Winter Guard did not move and will get an aiming bonus, so I need a 4 to hit, which I make. The CRA is power 15, which is dice -3, and I cause 3 damage. The remaining Winter Guard make a combined ranged attack on the frontmost Skinwalker. 7 soldiers can participate, and I will hit on anything other than double ones. But I roll exactly that. Cognic Joe moves up and repeats his speech to make the Winter Guard tough and fearless. The Widowmakers will attempt to shoot the Blackclad again. The first sniper needs a 5 to hit since he gets an aiming bonus. The shot makes it, and I roll dice -3 for damage, which is enough to eliminate the Blackclad. The Widowmaker leader takes a shot at Kromac and makes it. I roll dice -4 and inflict 1 point of damage to Kromac. He chooses to transfer it to the Gorax, which triggers his pain response. This allows the beast to charge and make power attacks without being forced. The Behemoth moves up 4 inches and toes into the zone. He then shoots at the explosive cache. The objective is defense 5, so I hit on anything other than Snake Eyes. The first attack hits and I boost damage. At dice -1, the marker takes 9 damage. The second shot also hits and I boost, causing another 8 damage, which is enough to destroy the explosives cache and score me a control point. Unfortunately, we forgot the explosive cache actually causes an AoE explosion. The Thrall Warrior charges a Skinwalker. I need a 6 to hit, and I hit. I am hitting armor 20 because of the Unyielding bonus and Inviolable Resolve. The Thrall is a charging weapon master, so I roll 4 dice at power 10. I cause 3 points of damage. Alexia and her Risen move up. She takes a shot at the Skinwalker and uses Death Magic to remove a Risen to boost the attack roll. I need a 7 to hit and make it. She removes another Risen to boost the damage roll. It's dice -6, but I roll high enough to destroy the model. Gorman moves up and hides by a wall. The Old Witch activates. She moves up and uses her feat, Field of Talons. This prevents enemy models in her control area from running, charging, or making special attacks. And enemy models that advance and end their movement in her control area suffer a power 14 damage roll. She spends 3 focus to cast Murder of Crows to place a cloud effect in front of the Behemoth. The War Dog moves up near the Old Witch. Circle, turn 3. Kromac leeches 6 fury from his beasts and takes a point of damage for another, which puts him back to 7 fury. The Skinwalkers charge, since they started outside the Old Witch's control area. Once they complete their movement, all but 1 take damage from the Old Witch's feet. They are all engaged, giving them +2 armor, so I roll dice -6 on each. The first Skinwalker does not survive. The Alpha takes 1 point of damage. The next one takes no damage. And the last one takes 5 damage. Now we resolve the charge. The first Skinwalker charges the explosives cache. It is auto hit in melee, and he rolls dice -2 for damage. He causes 9 damage. The next Skinwalker also charges the explosives cache, again auto-hitting, this time doing 7 damage, which is enough to destroy the cache and score Circle a control point. Again, we forgot these actually blow up. Sorry. The next Skinwalker charges a Winter Guard. At defense 17, the Skinwalker needs an 11 to hit, which he makes. It's power 13, so the Winter Guard must make a tough roll, which he fails. The Alpha, instead of making a charge attack roll, chooses a 2-man CMA with the previous Skinwalker's Rapid Strike bonus. Now he only needs a 7 to hit, but misses. He makes his second initial attack, now needing a 10 to hit, which also misses. The other Skinwalker uses his second initial attack to hit a Winter Guard. He needs an 11 and gets it. This triggers a tough roll, which I fail. He then uses the Blood Drinker advantage and heals D3 hitboxes. The last Skinwalker attacks a Winter Guard, again needing an 11. This time he misses. The Stonekeeper and stones activate. The Stonekeeper moves up to the Thrall Warrior and the stones shift around. The Stonekeeper uses his spell Rock Hammer. He needs a 5 to hit. He hits and places a 3-inch AoE on the Thrall, which also catches the Stonekeeper. The Thrall is killed outright, and the Stonekeeper takes a power 7 blast, which is dice -6. He takes 4 damage. The death of my Thrall triggers Warpath, and the Stalker moves up 3 inches. Since this is a movement, he takes damage from the Old Witch's feet, and I roll dice -3 for damage. The Stalker takes 7 damage to Spiral 2. The Gorax activates. He moves up next to Kromac and casts his Animus, Primal, on the Stalker. The Stalker warps strength and advances toward the Behemoth. He rolls again for damage from the Old Witch's feet. I roll dice -3, causing 5 damage to Spiral 5. The Stalker begins wailing on the Behemoth. Attack rolls are boosted because of Wild Aggression. The first initial attack hits and is powered 20 because of Primal and Warp Strength, so dice -1. The Behemoth takes 7 damage to Column 2. The second initial attack hits and is power 18, which is dice -3. The Jack takes 7 damage to Column 6. The Stalker is forced to swing again and hits. Behemoth takes 9 damage to Column 5. This takes out his right arm. Stalker is forced to swing again and hits, this time causing 2 damage to Column 3. Stalker swings again, hits, and does another 7 damage to Column 3. Stalker swings one more time, he hits and causes 2 damage to Column 4. The Swamp Gobbers activate, stay where they are, and drop a cloud. Kromac activates and advances into the cloud. He stays just outside the Old Witch's control area and casts Bestial again. The Gnarlhorn moves and manages to stay outside of the Witch's control area. He then riles for 2 Fury. Each player now has 1 control point. Khador turn 3. Alexia takes the corpses of the fallen Khadorans and transforms them into Risen, much to their comrades' disapproval. 2 focus are allocated to Scrapjack and the Old Witch keeps the rest. Iron Flesh is upkept for free again. The Behemoth activates and attempts to hit the Stalker. Beast is defense 14, so I need an 8 to hit with my 1 good arm. I roll double 1s and miss. The other arm cannot hit since I can only roll 1 die. Gorman activates and moves behind the wall. The stalker is in range of his alchemical grenades. I attempt to throw a black oil grenade. The stalker is defense 18 for being engaged, so I need to roll double 6s to hit, but instead I roll 4. The AoE deviates only 1 inch, however, so the stalker is now blinded, lowering his defense and melee attack by 4. The war dog charges the stalker. He needs a 4 to hit now and makes it. I roll dice minus 6 for damage, and do no damage. The war dog then advances back toward my warcaster. Scrapjack will now activate and he charges the stalker. I need a 5 to hit and make it. At power 12, I roll dice minus 5, and just hit the armor. The second initial attack hits, and I boost damage, but again I do not get past the stalker's armor. The mortar crew takes aim at Kromac. I will need double 6s to hit, which doesn't happen. The shot deviates 4 inches, catching 1 shifting stone and the Gorax. I roll dice minus 10 for damage on the stone and cause no damage. I roll dice minus 8 on the Gorax, again causing no damage. Alexia activates and will shoot at a skinwalker. She gets an aiming bonus, so she only needs a 5 to hit. I decide to boost by removing Arisen and still miss the shot. Kovnik Joe gives his speech, Courage of Our Forefathers, and attempts to show Alexia how to shoot. He also gets an aiming bonus and needs a 4 to hit. The shot connects and I roll dice minus 6 for damage, causing 4 damage to the skinwalker and eliminating him. The Winter Guard activate and issue a bob and weave order. One Winter Guard moves out of the skinwalker's melee range, triggering a free strike. He needs a 9 to hit the nimble soldier and misses. Another Winter Guard follows suit and tries to disengage 2 skinwalkers. The free strike from the Alpha misses, as does the free strike from the other skinwalker. The Winter Guard is very proud. The remaining soldiers move into position and begin opening fire. 5 Winter Guard make a combined ranged attack on the Alpha. They are effectively ranged attack 10 and will hit on anything other than double 1s. But I roll double 1s. Another 4 Winter Guard make a combined ranged attack on the skinwalker. They need a 3 to hit. This time the shot connects and I roll dice minus 2 for damage. The skinwalker takes 5 damage. The Old Witch activates and moves next to the rubble. She spends 2 focus to cast Unseen Path, which allows me to place Scrapjack within 2 inches of her. She then spends 3 focus to cast Gallows through Scrapjack on the Warpborn Alpha. I need a 5 to hit and make it. I do not have to pull him, however, as that would grant the Alpha an armor bonus. It's a power 13 attack, so I roll dice minus 5, and the Alpha takes 3 damage. The Widowmakers run into the zone in an attempt to keep my opponent from being able to control it next turn. Circle turn 4. Kromac leeches Fury from the Gorax and Gnarlhorn, which put him back to 7 Fury. He spends 2 Fury to upkeep Inviolable Resolve and Warpath. The Stalker immediately frenzies as the result of the Primal Animus and charges the Behemoth. He needs a 5 to hit because of the Black Oil, but the attack is also boosted. The attack hits and he rolls dice minus 3 for damage. He rolls just enough to finish off my Jack. This also triggers Warpath, and the Gorax moves up. The Gorax activates and charges the lead Widowmaker. He needs an 8 to hit the sniper and boosts the roll. He misses. He boosts the second initial attack. This time, the attack connects. It's power 12, so we just remove the Widowmaker. The unit must make a command check again, which they pass. Warpath triggers and the Gnarlhorn advances 3 inches. The Gorax forces another attack and boosts. Again, he needs an 8 to hit, but misses. The Skinwalkers activate and advance toward the control zone. Two models CMA the Widowmaker with the attack coming from the Alpha. This puts their melee attack at 9, so he only needs a 5 to hit. The attack hits and finishes off my Widowmakers. The Alpha uses Blood Drinker to heal 3 boxes. The last Skinwalker in the unit swings on a Winter Guard. He needs an 11 to hit and misses. Second attack also misses. The Gnarlhorn Satyr activates and advances up to Gorman. He boosts the attack roll, needing an 8 to hit. He makes it. The attack is power 15, which is dice plus 3 on Gorman, so he automatically dies. Warpath triggers again, and the Stalker moves up. But this puts him within 6 inches of my War Dog, which triggers Countercharge. The black oil is still affecting the Stalker, so I only need a 4 to hit, which I make. The attack is power 11, which is dice minus 6, but this dog is angry and tears into the Stalker for 10 damage on spiral 6. The dog then moves back toward the Old Witch. The Gnarlhorn riles for 1 fury. Kromac advances up and spends 3 fury for Bestial and camps the remaining 2 fury. The Shifting Stone unit activates and teleports up. The Stonekeeper stone forms. The Swamp Gobbers activate, issue a cloud cover order, advance, and drop a cloud. Since Kromac is now dominating the control zone, he has scored 2 control points this turn, putting his total to 3. Khador, turn 4. The Old Witch allocates 1 focus to Scrapjack and keeps the rest. Iron Flesh is upkept for free. Mortar Crew activates and targets Kromac. He is defense 17, and I will only hit with double 6s. The attack misses, and we roll deviation. The blast scatters 4 inches over the Swamp Gobbers. They are both caught in the blast, taking a power 8 hit. I roll dice minus 3, and do no damage to the first. The second one explodes. The Gobbers must now make a command check, and they break. The War Dog has a taste for Stalker and charges the beast again. This time, the Stalker is defense 14, so I need an 8 to hit. I roll double 1s and miss. The dog shamefully returns to his master. Kobnik Joe activates and yells for the motherland, granting boosted attack rolls to the Winter Guard infantry and himself. He then takes a shot at the Skinwalker in the control zone. He is shooting the back arc, so he only needs a 4 to hit. The shot connects. I roll dice minus 6 and cause 2 damage. The Winter Guard activate and bob and weave. I rely on my high defense to walk out of melee. With Iron Flesh and bob and weave active, the Skinwalker and Stalker need a 9 to hit. The rest of my soldiers position and prepare to shoot. This soldier triggers a free strike for leaving melee with the Skinwalker. He needs a 9 to hit, but makes it and kills the guardsman. 2 Winter Guards CRA the Warpborn Alpha. I need a 7 to hit and make it. The shot is power 14, which is dice minus 4, and I do no damage. Since I can't clear the Alpha, the remaining Winter Guard will use Grape Shot to spray into Kromac. The first Guardsman targets the Alpha and catches Kromac and 2 Shifting Stones. I need a 7 to hit the Alpha, but miss. I do hit the stone. I miss Kromac and hit the other stone. I roll dice minus 8 for damage on the stones and do no damage. The next winter guard targets the Alpha and catches Kromac and 1 shifting stone. This time I hit the Alpha, the stone, and Kromac. I rolled dice -8 on the Alpha and caused no damage. I rolled dice -7 on the shifting stone and caused 1 point of damage. I rolled dice -4 on Kromac and caused 2 points of damage. Kromac takes the damage and spends 1 fury to beast out. The next winter guard targets the Alpha and catches both stones and Kromac. I miss the Alpha. I hit the first stone. I miss Kromac. I hit the second stone. At dice -8, I do no damage to the stones. Another guardsman takes a regular shot at a skinwalker. I'm in his back arc and only need a 5 to hit and make it. I roll dice -6 for damage and do no damage. The officer takes a shot at the skinwalker, who is defense 16 in melee. She needs a 10 to hit and she makes it. I roll dice -8 for damage and cause no harm. Alexia activates and charges the stalker. This does trigger a free strike from the skinwalker though. She is defense 15 and he needs a 7 to hit. And it misses. The Risen also charge. 3 Risen have charged the skinwalker and will CMA and need a 5 to hit. The attack hits at power 10, which is dice -10. And cause 2 damage. Alexia needs an 8 to hit. She spends a Risen to boost her attack roll. The attack hits at power 12, which is dice -5. She kills the stalker. And she collects his corpse. Scrapjack activates and charges the Gorax. He needs a 7 to hit. I hit and roll dice -4 for damage. The Gorax takes 6 damage. The second initial attack hits and causes another 4 damage to the beast. The Old Witch activates and walks back outside the range of Bestial. Now she can cast her spell, Unseen Path, and teleport within 2 inches of Scrapjack. This puts her in melee with Kromac. She boosts the first attack on Kromac, needing a 9 to hit, and makes it. I roll dice -4 for damage and boost it. Kromac takes 11 damage, which he transfers to the Gnarlhorn. I boost the second initial attack and miss. I buy 1 more attack and need a 9 on 2 dice, which also misses. The Old Witch should be worried. Circle turn 5. Kromac leeches Fury and takes a point of damage for 1 more Fury to bring him to full. Warpath and Inviolable Resolve drop. Kromac activates and casts his feet, then attacks the Old Witch. She is defense 15, so he needs a 9 to hit and boosts his attack roll. The attack hits and he rolls straight dice. The Old Witch takes 8 damage. He boosts his second initial attack and hits again. He does 10 damage, which kills my Warcaster and results in a circle victory. So the circle player brought a very high armor list with spell suppression, which really limited my use of Scrapjack. And not being able to take out the Stalker early on really put me at a disadvantage, since he's probably the biggest initial threat on the table. So the dice were not in my favor this game. Sometimes the dice leave you out in the cold, no matter how much you bargain and plead with them. And while it's a frustrating feeling, it's kind of silly to complain about dice rolls when you choose to play a game of dice. Besides, it's easier to blame dice rolls than it is to figure out what you might have done wrong. Overall, I think I needed to be up the board earlier so it wasn't just my behemoth contesting the control zone. But what are your thoughts? I'd like to see your comments below. We'll see you next time.